Today we're going to be checking out filming locations for To Live and Die in LA. No, not the 1996 song by Tupac, the 1985 crime drama starring William Dafoe and William Peterson. Now, a lot of you have asked me to do filming locations for this movie, so let's go see what we can find. On the roof of the hotel is where Chance finds the terrorist. Now that was actually filmed here on the roof of the Beverly Hilton. It was filmed over here on this section. He runs right in front of that structure and out onto the rounded part of the roof. In the background behind him, you can see the skyline of Century City, and if you look hard enough off in the distance, you can see the peak of the Los Angeles Temple. This is the home that was used for Eric Masters' house. In the beginning of the movie, we see him take that canvas painting and walk out onto the balcony and set it on fire. Now, unfortunately, there's not much to see of this house from the street. I assume that balcony is on the other side of the house. If we look right there on the other side of the gate, you can see a window that has that same turquoise trim that we see in the movie. Right up there, we see Chance jumping off the Vincent Thomas Bridge. You can see this part of the bridge in the background behind him when he's getting ready to jump. Where this apartment building now sits, this used to be Ultra's Cafe, which is the bar that we see them celebrating at after jumping off the bridge. And you can tell this is the right spot by that apartment building across the street, which can be seen when they're walking out of the bar. When they're standing by his truck and he gives them the fishing rod as a retirement gift, you can see this boatyard across the street along with that building right there. This is also the spot where later in the movie we see Chance and Volkovich having lunch on those high seats. After he finishes making the money, he comes out of that door right there. He walks around the side of the building. And he hides the bag in a dumpster that would have been right there on the side. He gets into the trash can over here and he finds the bag, and right over here was that horse trailer where Eric Masters was hiding inside. And they ambush Jimmy and they end up killing him right there. This is the home of Richard Chance. We see him leaning up against that railing up there after finding out that Jim Hart's been killed. That's when we see Volkovich coming to the door. Now that door is now covered by this fence, but if we take a peek, you can see the door right there. This is the church that they used to do the stakeout on the house across the street. The house that they were staking out is right across the street where this hotel now sits. Right there on the corner was a 76 gas station, and then right about there is where the house was. One of those windows right there is the one that he's looking out doing surveillance on the house. You can see how those bottom windows flip up. You can actually see that window right there is slightly open. They come running out of that door to run across the street to the house. And when they're running across the street, you can see that Arco gas station still there. He comes up this street right here, and we get a shot of the bridge and the shipyards. And right here, this is where Ruth's house would have been. It's since been torn down and turned into a Little League field. Now, he would have been parked somewhere over here. You can see the shipyards behind him. And as he walks into her house, you get a shot of the bridge. This is where the chase begins of the two guys making phony credit cards. They spot them coming out of that building right there, and Chance chases after one guy and Volkovich chases after the other. This is where the wooden bridge used to be, where we see Chance chasing after the guy. He used to go right over those railroad tracks where Los Angeles Historical State Park now is. Fun fact, the guy that he's chasing after is supposedly actor Gary Cole before he was famous.
Yeah.
You can even see some of these houses and these hills in the background when they're running across the bridge. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pinpoint any of the houses. On the other side of this structure is the building that was used as the warehouse where Masters is doing his counterfeiting. Now, unfortunately, there's only one way to get to this building, and there's a security guard at the gate. I tried talking to him to gain access, but it's not going to happen. But you can see here on Google Maps, this is the building. Everything back here looks a lot different, but you can tell this is the same building. That's actually the building right there, but this is the other side of it. And you can see right here, closed to the public. But yeah, that's the building. It's just not the side that we want to see. We see Eric Masters walking right here with Kung Fu Joe.
Master of Karate!
Oops, I mean Jeff Rice. They're working out a deal to take care of Carl Cody in prison, who earlier in the movie was captured by Richard Chance at Los Angeles International Airport. They're walking in front of this wall, which had a different mural at the time. They walk right along this way, and you can see some houses in the background behind them that you can no longer really see because of this fence, but you can just barely see the roof of one of the houses right there. Masters walks over this way and gets into his black Ferrari, which would have been parked right there in the alley, and you can definitely see this house in the background behind him. This is Jeff Rice's house. We see it when Masters comes here to try and get his money back. Jeff Rice would have pulled up and parked in the driveway right there before going into the house and finding Masters inside waiting for him. This was used as the courtyard of the judge's office when Chance goes to see the judge about getting Cody out of jail. When he takes Carl to the hospital to see his supposed daughter, this is the hospital they go to. This is the old Linda Vista Hospital that was closed down for a long time. I think at the time of the movie, it was pretty much just used for filming locations. Now it's been completely renovated, and I think it's a senior living community. Volkovich crosses the street right here and goes into this bar to have a meeting with Masters' attorney. After the meeting, they're walking down the sidewalk right here, and Masters' attorney gets into his car, which would have been parked right here. Now, there was a whole row of electrical meters in front of his car, and it's kind of hard to see now because of this fence, but they're still there. This building is an old hotel slash bar, and now it's just used as a filming location. They have signs all over it about renting it out for filming. Where this park now sits, this used to be Shipwreck Joey's, the same bar that was used as Cheap Times in the movie Blood In, Blood Out. Now, we only see the outside of the building very briefly, but when he's pulling up, you can see these power lines behind him. And then when he's walking into the bar, you can see the refinery over here on the other side of the 110 freeway. When Chance kidnaps the man getting off the train coming from San Francisco, that happens right here at Union Station. So they would have been driving right here along the 6th Street Bridge, and right here was the building that you see them pass on the right side. It's since been torn down, and they would have made a left underneath the 6th Street Bridge. These power stations right here can be seen, and like I said, right here was that building that you can see across the street from them, and these power stations can be seen behind that building. So they would have been somewhere right over there trying to open the briefcase, and the FBI agent would have been up there on top of the 6th Street Bridge with the gun pointed down at them. The chase continues down Mesquite Street. This is where all the semi-trucks are blocking their way, and they're having to zigzag back and forth around all the trucks. Now it looks a little bit different. A lot of the buildings have been torn down and rebuilt. And of course, right down here is where they go underneath the 7th Street Bridge. Now you can no longer go underneath the bridge. It's been blocked off. But this is the spot where they go under the bridge and come out the other side. So they come out from under the bridge, and there was a semi-truck right here. You can see that building across the street, which at the time was the Imperial Toy Company, which was the company that made all of my favorite Garbage Pail Kids toys in the 80s, but that's for another video. They're driving along those railroad tracks, and then they go down into the LA River, and they're driving towards the 6th Street Bridge, and you can see the 7th Street Bridge in the background behind them, which is the bridge that I'm standing on right now. So they're driving in the LA River away from where I am. The car chase somehow switches from downtown Los Angeles to Wilmington, California. We see them passing right by the Wilmington refinery here. Right here in this general area is where the car chase ends. They would have been parked in front of 805 Vreeland, just south of I Street. But 805 Vreeland no longer exists, it's just a bunch of wrecking yards. Right here is Sutherland Avenue at I Street, and Vreeland would have been about 1 block that way. So just about a block in that direction is where the car chase ends. This is the apartment building where Chance comes to find Cody when he's hiding out. We see Chance going through that directory right there, and then you can see the gate in the reflection of the directory, and the gate still has that exact same circle design that you see in the movie. Chance walks right up these steps, and you can see this apartment in the background along with that air conditioning unit. He walks right up these steps to apartment number 5. As he's standing at the door, Cody's girlfriend opens that sliding glass door right there, and Chance gains entry to the apartment. Now, I found some pictures of these apartments online, and it looks to me like they actually used these apartments for the interiors. This is the gym where Eric Masters likes to conduct all his business. And as you can see, it really is a gym in real life. You can actually see some gym equipment through those windows up there. Chance and Volkovich come here and they have a meeting with Masters on the roof of the gym. And then during that meeting, Masters steps out and we see him walk out this back door right here. And he comes over here to get the information about Chance and Volkovich. Towards the end of the movie, Chance and Volkovich come here to have the meeting with Masters and make the swap. We see them approaching the building right here and heading inside. Volkovich comes out here to try and find Masters. You can see that building across the street, which is Swinger's Coffee Shop. Volkovich comes around this way, and Masters comes speeding down the alley and almost hits him with his car. Volkovich would have been standing right there. That building across the street has changed a bit.